Hey everybody, this is Modern Refugee. As you can see, it's quite chilly out here tonight, even with the fire burning. I've been thinking about making this video for quite some time for you guys, and it's on the topic of smudging. And if you don't know what smudging is a technique in which you burn certain plants and herbs to purify a living space. It also has certain religious and ceremonial significance in certain cultures, especially Native American cultures. And I'd like to thank my Anishinaabe friend for sharing these techniques with me so I could turn around and share that wisdom with you guys. Like I said, smudging can be used to purify a living space, and that's because that smoke is antibacterial, has antibacterial properties. And I think this is a particularly practical aspect of smudging, especially for folks of a preparedness mindset like myself. So like if I have a sick family member, I'll go ahead and I'll smudge the house. It reduces the bacteria, reduces mold, pollen, and in turn makes the living space healthier. A lot of preppers talk about herbal medicine, and I guess this is my version of how I practice one type of herbal medicine. Smudging is also akin to a smoke bath. Mountain men used to take their clothes off, stand in front of the campfire, and let the smoke from the campfire blow across their skin. And like I said, that is antibacterial, so it's going to kill the bacteria, and it's also going to reduce odor. So that's another aspect of smudging, is it also reduces odor in, let's say, a living space. I've laid out some of my smudging stuff that I have here, some of the things that I use, some of the plants and herbs. Some of these plants I grow, some of the stuff is foraged. So I'm going to take a second now, and I'm going to turn my camera on. I'm going to go over this stuff with you guys. Hopefully you guys will get a little bit of information out of this. First of all, I'd like to start by showing you guys this photograph. I took this photograph at a Native American gathering a few years ago that I was invited to. And this symbol right here is the medicine wheel. And this symbol was on a older Native gentleman's regalia, and he allowed me to take a picture of it. And he explained it to me that day as this symbol represents many things, including the four races of man living together in harmony, and that always stuck with me. But the medicine wheel also has other meanings, and each one of the plants that I burn in smudging is correlated to one of those colors on the medicine wheel. And I'm going to include a small PDF link in the description that explains the medicine wheel further if you guys are interested in it. These here are my smudging items. I'm going to pan across here, show you guys a little bit of what I have. I'm going to come down here to the corner, and this is probably the most common plant associated with smudging, and this is sage. This is common sage right here that I grew in my garden. You can also use white sage. I have the dried sage leaves here. But then I also have this bundle right here. And what this is this is sage that I trimmed with the stems and leaves intact, and then I let this dry. Then I put it together in a tight bundle, and I tied it with a good cotton cord. And this is what's called a smudge stick. And to use this, you're going to light this end of it right here, and you're going to let that smolder, and then all you're going to do is you're going to take this, walk around, and you're going to move this back and forth to distribute the smoke. It's a very compact way of smudging, and you don't need anything other than this right here. And when I'm done with it, I just put a couple drops of water on it to make sure that it's out so it's ready for next time. Moving up here, this is the next plant that I have here, and it's also a very common plant in smudging, and this is cedar. And this cedar I went out and foraged for, trimmed it, brought it back, and let it dry. And it's one of the three plants that I use in smudging. And next is sweetgrass. And this sweetgrass was given to me. This is dried sweetgrass right here. It's also a very important plant and very common in smudging. And what I do is I take this sweetgrass right here, I take the cedar, and I take the sage, and I mix those 3 plants together, and that's what I use to smudge with. I also have a sweetgrass braid here that I also keep. But what I do with those 3 herbs is I put them here in my shell, and this shell was also given to me. A shell is a traditional bowl used for smudging. You don't have to use this necessarily, but I'm a bit of a traditionalist, so I like using the shell. Plus, it was a gift. What you're going to do is you're going to light these plants in here, and you're going to let this smolder, and then you're going to use something to distribute that smoke when you're walking around. And what I use is a turkey feather, and this is from a turkey that I harvested a few years ago. And then for the handle, I just put a little buckskin on here, and then I wrapped it with some sinew. And then as this is burning, all I'm going to do is I'm going to move the feather back and forth to distribute the smoke and walk throughout the house. And like I said, it's kind of the traditional way of doing it. You don't necessarily have to do it. You can do it in any really fireproof bowl that you want. But I like the tradition of it all, so I use it in that fashion. And then the last thing I got here is this is just a little pouch that I made with some cloth and some paracord that I keep my sage and my cedar and my sweetgrass and a little bit of tobacco in, and that way I can take this with me if I'm going out camping or something. And if I want to smudge out in the field, I have that at my disposal. But these are the items here and the plants that I use for smudging. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I hope you guys got a little information and a little entertainment out of this video. I really appreciate all my subscribers out there, and I hope you guys have a great night.